everybody, and welcome to this week's news update. This is the news for the week of September 1st, and of course this is right after the D23 weekend, so that is what we're going to be talking about today. Now, I don't know about you, looking through the news that came out of D23, I was hoping for more information. I was hoping to get more details on what's coming to the Magic Kingdom, so more details on the Cars Land rides, and what's coming to Tropical Americas, and even the new Monsters Inc. area. I know we've been getting kind of drips and we were hoping for more details. That did not happen, but we will still talk about what news did come out of the event. So the first one I wanted to address is the new painting of Cinderella's castle. So it's getting a new paint job, which is actually an old paint job. We're going back to those classic colors of the gray with the blue, which honestly, in my opinion, is my favorite version of the castle, that classic Cinderella castle look. So as far as that goes, nothing too exciting here. They're going for a matte finish of the gray on the stonework to make that look a little bit more realistic, but they're going for then a high gloss on the whites to make them really catch that sunlight and sparkle, they say, from every direction. And then a couple of gold accents on the spires to catch that sunlight and kind of make the castle shimmer. So I'm sure this will look lovely. They haven't released any information on the dates of when this is going to start or finish, but going back to that classic Cinderella castle look is a plus for me. Next is they're going to be doing a Tron light cycle overlay at the Magic Kingdom. So this is for the new Aries Tron movie that is coming out. That does come out on October 10th. They're going to be starting this overlay on September 15th, so obviously it's promotion for this new movie. So the main change here is just that rather than having those blue lights, we're going with a red-orange look here. And then they're going to be doing a 9 Inch Nails soundtrack while you're going through the ride. So something nice and high energy for you for that adrenaline rush on that Tron light cycle run. So again, nothing too thrilling, a little bit of different music and lights, but an overlay is always a nice change of pace. And it's good promotion for the upcoming movie, which is exciting to see. The next big announcement is about the Carousel of Progress. So it was cool that they opened up Walt Disney's animatronic in Disneyland. We are now getting one in Walt Disney World as well. So they're going to be building a new pre-show into the beginning of the Carousel of Progress. And if you remember kind of the opening of this, the curtains came up and you just saw the logo of the Carousel of Progress, and then you had a voiceover that basically talked about how involved Walt was, that this was his idea from beginning to end, all the things that he wanted to see from it. So my guess is rather than having someone talk about Walt's involvement, we're going to be hearing this from Walt himself this time. So looking at the concept art, it is a different looking office than you see in the Disneyland version. So you get Epcot here, you've got the parrot, so having the animatronic there with him. So I really like how much is going on in this scene. I hope this is accurate to what they build, but it'll be another rise of the curtains to see another show scene in the Carousel of Progress. So this is good news for multiple reasons. Not only is Walt coming into the attraction, but this also means the attraction is here to stay. It was already going to be hard to close, one of those kind of Walt touched, so untouchable attractions. I know it already closed in Disneyland, so to have it here, to be adding in Walt and putting extra love into this building, obviously they are planning on keeping it and keeping it updated. So whether this means new updates to the other scenes, I hope at least the future scene becomes a future scene and not a 15 years ago future scene. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more love given to the ride when they do these updates as well, but we'll have to wait and see on those. But really glad that this is finally getting some love and to know that it is here to stay. Now we did get a little bit of extra information on one of the upcoming lands, which is Villains Land. So they've given us a little bit more ideas about the design aesthetic of the space. So Imagineers went to Barcelona in Spain and Paris, France to get inspiration. They're going for that kind of old architecture look, that medieval stonework, but also with the stained glass. But then they're adding in a fantastical twist with kind of the swirling magic, frozen in time kind of look. So really cool aesthetic. They're putting a lot of thoughts into this. Apparently we're going to see a lot of jewel tones for coloring in this area. So they are naming this Conjured Architecture, and they are bringing in a classic Disney animator, Andreas Deja, to bring this to life. So they're being brought in as a consultant. They've previously done work on Disney animated films and including villains such as Scar and Jafar. So having that as incorporated into the land will be great to give it some of that energy. So speaking of villains, in Hong Kong Disneyland, they are also doing a villains party. So this is Uninvited, a villains takeover. This is going to be taking over Main Street in Hong Kong Disneyland. It's going to be a mix of a cavalcade, a street party, and kind of a musical spectacular. So the villains are getting a lot of love recently. I think this is really exciting. Of course, they've already opened the show in Hollywood Studios. So more villains, this is great. You got to kind of balance out the princesses, right? So the last thing I want to mention is Disney Handcrafted. So this is a new documentary that is coming out. This is being done by Leslie Iwerks, who you might know from the Imagineering story. But this is going to be documenting the opening of Disneyland. So they've got new historical footage that they're using, interviews. This will be really cool to see that end-to-end process of the opening of the most magical place on earth. So that's all the news updates for this week, and we'll see you next time.